Okay. So yesterday we started with the looping statements in C. So I told many times looping means a set of code or a block of code we want to execute multiple times to achieve some task. That's what looping means. And there are three different looping type of statements in C. One is a while statement, another is a do while statement, and a for statement. Okay. So we call it as while loop, do while loop, for loop. All the three are essentially doing very similar or same task, can do same or similar task, but slight difference between these. And whatever you are doing with while, you can achieve it with do while or with for statement, for loop statement. Okay. So they are each mutually replaceable. Still all the three are existing, and small variations are there between these. But same task, given a task, you can implement with while or do while or for loop. No problem. And we had started with the while loop. The general syntax is like this. While is a keyword of the language. Then similar to if statement, simple if statement. Instead of if, we use while. And there is a test condition. This is there for the if statement also. Now in case of if statement, this will be executed once if this condition is true. But in case of looping, this body of the loop will be executed as long as this condition is true. That is the difference. Here in case of if statement, at most once this will be executed. That also when this condition is true. Here in looping, as long as this condition is true, this block of code will be executed. Okay, so difference is we use keyword while, and we have seen an example yesterday. So printing hello world 10 times. Okay, so we've developed, initialized a variable. We call this variable, such a variable used in looping, we call it as a control variable, because it controls how many times this loop body, this is the body of the loop, how many times this is going to execute. So we call it as a control variable. This is the limit or the boundary. Okay, boundary value for the control variable. So as long as the control variable is less than this boundary value, this loop body will be executed. The moment the control variable reaches, that means I becomes 10, 10 less than 10 is false. So that is the termination condition. After that, this block will not be executed. Okay. So we had seen executing this, and hello world was executed 10 times. Okay. So if you want to see the value of y or I also, how it varies, I can print I also and put it here I. So along with hello world, I am going to display the value of I also. What is the variation happening to value of I. So now if I execute, for I value 0, hello world is printed, because initial value of I is 0. 0 less than 10 is true. So we are printing I followed by hello world. Next time we are incrementing it to 1. I is incremented to 1. I can either use I plus plus or I is equal to I plus 1. Both are equivalent. So next time I is equal to 1, again hello world is printed. 2, hello world is printed. When it is 9, then also hello world is printed. After printing, when I is equal to 9, after printing hello world, I is incremented to 10 by this statement. Okay. Now 10 less than 10 is false. So no more execution. So I value, for I value 10, hello world is not printed, because we are not executing this body again anymore. After that, the statements following the loop body, the entire loop will be executed. This is the statement that is executed, and we get a message here. So this is the working of any loop. If you take for loop or do while loop, any loop, this is the pattern of working. As long as some condition is true, we are going to execute. The moment first time the condition evaluates to false, that body will not be executed anymore. Body of the loop will not be executed anymore. Okay. That is the working. So fundamental. Now there is a mechanism to visual. Now we are imagining. Okay, when is this is true, it goes execute the body, then goes back and check the condition. Again, if it is true, we are imagining, and we are seeing the effect also. In the program, we are seeing the effect. Now, there is a mechanism to step by step execute this program, or line by line execute this program and see the sequence of execution or flow of execution. Okay, so far using a normal program where there is no control statement or branching statement like if or while, it was a sequential execution. Starting from the beginning of the main function, all the statements will be executed sequentially. This one, like that. But when branching was there, there was certain difference. It was not sequential flow. Based on a condition, we branched out. Either one set of statement is executed, other set of statements. There also it is somewhat easy to visualize. Now, when it comes to looping, if we can clearly see execute each statement at a time, one statement at a time, if we can clearly see, it will help us to understand the working of looping statement much better. So what I'll do is, in a IDE like Codeblocks, instead of running a program as a single file, now I have a single file loop1.c and my program is there, and I'm compiling it, I'm executing it. Instead of that, I can create it as a project. So what I will do is, what do we do? Either we click here to create a new file, or go here, new empty file we create, type our program. So instead of that, I'm going to select a project, or I'm going to create a project. Okay. Once we have a project, Codeblocks IDE allows us to execute every line individually and see the effect of it. Okay. We call it as step-by-step execution or step-by-step debugging of the code. So I'm going to create a project. So when I click, there are so many different types of projects appearing. What I'm looking for is a very simple console application. Console application means there will be, when you're executing, that black window will come. Input is given in that black window. We call it as command prompt or sometimes as console. So we provide input there. We get the output there only, that black window appearing. So I choose console application. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to create a project to clearly visualize the working of a loop. So it's showing me some options. I'll just press next. I am working in C programming language, so I am choosing C. Codeblocks IDE supports C++ also, but since we are working with C programming, I'll choose C. I'll give a title for the file project. So loop demo, some title I'll give, and I have to choose where to save this project. So it will create a directory with the name loop demo, and all the files will be kept in that. So I can choose the directory. Okay. So I have a directory 2020-21 even code projects, and all my projects are stored there. Okay. So I choose this current directory only, whatever is there. Okay. And the current directory, which is projects. Code projects is my current directory. I am choosing that and pressing next. So whatever options are coming there, I'm default options I'm choosing. Debug, release. If I want, I can create both, select both, or default I'll choose the basic one. Now when I do that, I can close this program. Loop1.c is an independent single file. It's a single program. Now I have created a project called loop demo. By default, there is a file called main.c. And if I open, some template code is given. Hello world program template code is given. Okay. So what I do is, I'll put my looping program code in that main.c and I save it. Now instead of single file programs, I have created a project. There are some additional files or additional directory structure here, but what I'm interested in is a .c file. Main.c is the file name. Let it be there. And I am putting my code. I can type it from scratch, or since my code is already there, I can put it here. Now I can put breakpoints. Breakpoint means when we execute this program, I want my program to pause, execution of my program to pause at some point. or at some line number. So what I do is I will click here. After this number, I will click here. This is the way of putting a breakpoint. Okay. Now once I put a breakpoint, anyway execution starts from the main function. So this is the first line which is executable. Anyway, brace means it is not an executable statement. It is a boundary of my block of code. Okay. So this is the first executable statement. So I put a breakpoint there. Now instead of compiling it here and executing in the normal way, what I will do is, this normal way execution is possible. Okay. But what I want is step-by-step execution. So for that, okay, instead of clicking this green button, I'll click it. I get a red button here. So when I do that, same execution starts, but it pauses at the place of my breakpoint. Pauses at the place of my breakpoint. That is the first line of my program. Now I can execute this line and go to the next line. So here, if I go here, there is a shortcut, next line execution F7. Either I can click on this one, it will go to next line. There is a yellow arrow, that is what showing where is the current execution going to take place. So after executing this, we have come to this point. Okay. This way, now again, after instead of going into the menu and selecting next line, I will directly select F7. So it goes to the next executable line. And now my console or my window input output window is also appearing. No message is coming there. I am executing this statement now. Now if I open, I get the first message. Okay. Now I is equal to I plus 1 is executing. After execution, directly it is going back. See, this yellow arrow is going back. Okay. Now I value is 1 because we did from 0 to 1 it is incremented. 1 less than 10 it is checking. That is also true. It goes into the body of the loop again and execute printf statement. Now I get I is equal to 1 now. So I get 1 hello world. I is incremented. Goes and check here 2 less than 10. That is true. We get the message 2 hello world. This keep on happening. Okay. So how many? Up to 6 it has happened. Up to 8 it has happened. 8 less than 10 is also. Now it is 9. After 8 has come here, 8 hello world. After that we incremented value of I. Now 9 less than 10. That is also true. 9 less than 10. 9 less than 10 is true. So that is printed. After that it is incremented to 10. So now I value is 10. 10 less than 10 is false. So what will happen? The body will not be executed. It proceeds to the statement after the loop body and out of loop is printed and the program is over. So this is how a loop works. Check the condition. If it is true, execute. Go back and check the condition again. Now we change the control variable within the loop body so that some point of time this will evaluate to false. Otherwise our loop will never terminate. It will run infinite times. That we have seen yesterday. So our program is terminated now. Now is it clear? So we have executed step by step and verified that the loop is functioning as we expect. If this condition is true, execute the body. Again go back and check the condition. If it is true, still true, execute the body again, like that. Now there is one more feature. We can see the variable values. Many features are there, but out of that, which is very useful for you, those who are trying with Codeblocks, very useful for you, that is what I am demonstrating. At any point of time, we can see the values of the variables in our program. So for that, once I am executing, there is something called a window, watches window. So if you keep it open, so you go here, there is a spider icon and you click on that, select watches window, and if it is visible, now if I execute, I can see the variable values, how it is changing here only in this. Local variables says local variables within this function, whatever variables we create, they are called local variables. Now I start execution again. I go and select watches. See, it is showing I is equal to 0 because my initial value of I is 0. I is equal to 0 it is showing. Now what I'll do is, so I'll tile this window, both this window I'll tile and I'll show this parallelly. Okay, my watch window is here, this will show the, and my output window is here. Okay, now I'll execute one by one. Is I0 is visible to you? If you are from mobile, it may be little difficult, but from if you are from watching from laptop, it should be visible. But it is there. You can just assume that it is there. Those who are not able to see. Okay. Now I'll execute step by step. I is still 0. We have come down. We are going to execute this statement. I less than 10. That is executed. 0 less than 10 is true. So we entered into the loop. So first statement printf. See here in the right side we get the message. Now we are going to increment the value of I. That is executed. Now I has become 1 here. Now 1 is equal 1 less than 10 is going to be checked. We came back to the beginning of the loop and we are checking the condition again. 1 less than 10 is true. We entered here. So 1 hello world is coming. I value is incremented to 2. This is going to happen multiple times. So once you, after this class, if it is not clear, you can just watch this slowly, this video, and clearly understand what happens. Now I value is 9. For 9, hello world is printed. 9 less than 10 is true. Hello world is printed. We incremented the value of I to, we are going to increment the value of I to 10. 10 less than 10 is false. We come out of the loop, print the last message, out of loop is coming here, and our program is finished. Okay, so this is possible when you are creating your program as a project in Codeblocks. So those who are using Codeblocks, you can go and create a project, and there will be a default main.c created. In that you can type the program and you can execute. If you want to execute in a normal manner, you press the compile gear button for compiling and execute it. At once everything will be done. Or if you want to do step by step and see how the flow of execution is happening, you can press this one, and from the spider button you can select the watches window to see the local variable values. Many features are there, you can explore. Okay, so I hope it is clear for everybody that how a looping mechanism works. Checks for
So
the
after that, after you click on the watches for getting us the output like one by one,
yeah,
is it an automatic one or are you typing something on your
I'm not
keyboard?
typing, it is automatically updated. It will show, it will not show the output, it will it will automatically show the values of the variables in your program. So I have only one variable here. If I have more than one variable, it is going to show that value also. Okay, automatically it is going to display. I'm not typing anything.
No, sir, I'm asking about in that executing
Yeah,
screen
when I'm
that.
executing, I'm pressing F7. To execute the next line, I'm pressing F7.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, so that you can see debug menu is there. So there it is mentioned to execute next line F7. So once you start execution only it will be enabled. Now it is disabled. So if I start execute, if I put a breakpoint here and if I start execution, automatically in the debug menu it is next line. If there is a function call, if you want to go into the function, shift F7, simply execute the next line F7. Many options are there. Okay. So we can explore that. Just I wanted to demonstrate how it works. So when it is going to next line, when I press F7, actually this arrow is moving only when I am pressing F7. Now I value is incremented automatically. Suppose I had another variable below I, it will show that variable also. Okay. And this feature is not there in eBox, as such it is not supported there. But if you are installing Codeblocks or any similar IDE, you will be able to find out this feature. So here I am doing it just to, this is not part of the syllabus or anything, but just to give you a real demonstration of how the looping mechanism works. Okay. Okay. Now we will stop here. This one execution will stop debugger. In between we can stop it by clicking this cross button and we'll get into regular mode and regular things. Now yesterday we saw if we are commenting this line, that means the control variable, if we are not updating, what will be the outcome? This will never evaluate to false all the time, because initial value of I is equal to 0. Every time it will be 0 less than 10. It will be evaluated to true every time, and this will result in an infinite loop. Our program will never come out of that loop because I value is always 0. Okay. This program will run forever until we either forcefully stop it by closing here or we shut down our computer. It is going to run infinite time. Okay. Now what I am doing, in every execution of the loop of the body of the loop, I am updating the control variable so that some point of time we will reach a value of I such that this relational expression is evaluated to false. If it is not happening, your program will end up in an infinite loop. Okay. Now one terminology, when this body of the loop is executed one time, we call it as an iteration. Executing the body of the loop one time, we call it as one iteration of the loop. Okay, so in my program, how many iterations are happening? Okay, this is an infinite iteration is happening. I will compile. 0, I value 0 to 9. 0 to 9, there are 10 iterations actually. 0 to 9, that means 10 iterations. 10 times my execution is happening. So this loop is executing 10 times, or we generally call it as 10 iteration. One iteration means one round of execution of the body loop. Body of the loop, or loop body. One round of execution. So in this case, this loop had 10 iterations. So I need not increment all the time by 1. I can increment by 2 also. Okay. So that means we are reaching the boundary condition faster. So now in every iteration, I increment the value of I by 2. So 0, 2, 4, 8, then 10. For 10, since 10 less than 10 is false, that will not be executed. So we will see how many iterations are happening. For 0, I value 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8, it is executing the body. That means 5 iterations are there. I value 0, 1 iteration, I value 2, second iteration, 4, 6 and 8. Okay. It is not the case that we have to increment every time by 1. We can increment every time like any quanta, by any quanta that we want. Okay, based on your application, you will increment. Okay, so somehow the control variable should be modified such a way that you reach the termination condition. If your termination condition means this should be evaluated to false. The expression in while statement should be evaluated to false. So it need not be always addition only. Okay, suppose I increment this by, I initialize it with 20. Okay, and then my condition I will change it as I greater than 10. I greater than 10. Okay, so in this case, initially 20 greater than is 10. Now if I increment the control variable by 2, next time it will be 22, then 24. Every time I value will be greater than 10. So this is going to result in an infinite loop, right? If I run it, see, it is resulting in I value every time it is incremented by 2, it's fast, it has reached. So it's going to execute infinite times. or until your computer memory is full or something happens, it will crash. Now what I should do here, instead of incrementing the control variable, I should decrement the control variable so that some point of time this will be evaluated to false. So initially 20, then 18, 16, all these times this is a condition will be true. Then 14, 12, 10, 10 greater than 10 is false. So that time it will not execute and it will come out of the loop and go to this statement. So if I execute this 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, for all this value of I, the loop body is executed, and when the value of I reached 10, 10 greater than 10 is false. So total how many iterations? 5 iteration of the loop happened. Now if I want to execute one more time when I value is equal to 10 also, instead of I greater than 10, I will put I greater than or equal to 10. Now what is the difference? When I value is 10, at that time also it is going to execute the loop body, because 10 greater than or equal to 10 is true, but 10 greater than 10 is false, but 10 greater than or equal to 10 is true. So one more iteration, extra addition iteration is going to happen, and then I value will be decremented to 8. I is equal to I minus 8. So this time 6 iteration is going to happen for I is equal to 10 also. Okay. So is it clear how it works? While loop, how it works? Any question? Okay. Now normally here a relational expression will happen, but you can give any expression. Okay, you can give any expression. So I can give I can give I. I is also a very basic expression, a variable, simple variable. So initially I is equal to 20. So here it is as good as putting while 20. Okay. Any non-zero value is true. So what is going to happen is it will execute. I told any non-zero value is treated as true in C. So here I is equal to 20, which is a non-zero value, and it is going to execute. It is treated as true. So this expression results in true, and this body will be executed. Next time I will be reduced to 18. 18 is also true, non-zero value. So if I do this way, 18, then 16, 12, like that it is going to happen. Okay. So if I execute, will it ever come out of the loop? Whether it will execute infinite times or will it terminate after some iterations? Can anyone tell? So 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, after that what? 0. When I becomes 0, 0 is evaluated to false. We will come out of this loop. We should come out of this loop. Let's see. So for I value 2 also it is executed. After that I is reduced to 0. 0 is evaluated to false. Any non-zero value is true. 0 is false. So I becomes 0 once. So at least one time when it becomes 0, this is evaluated to false. We are out of the loop. We escape from the loop and proceed to the remaining code. Okay. Now I slightly change this to 19. Will it terminate? Can you just think, someone? Will it terminate or it will run infinite times? Anyone?
It will not terminate, sir.
Yeah, it will not terminate because see, subtracting a even number, say 2 from 19, it will result in an odd number. Subtracting an even number from an odd number, it will result in odd number only. So 17 then 15, 13, 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, minus 1. It is not touching, I value never touches 0. From minus 1 it is going to minus 1. Minus 1 is a non-zero value treated as true. So we will never hit the I is equal to 0 value. So it keeps on executing kind of theoretically forever. Okay. Somehow the condition is this expression should evaluate to whatever we are specifying should evaluate to a false. Then only the loop will terminate. So if I put like this, as soon as it becomes minus 1, this is false. Minus 1 is greater than 0 is false. So this will terminate. So normally it will be a relational expression. Okay. Now you can give a constant here. I can give a constant here. So this is 5. 5 is a non-zero value. So this is going to execute infinite times. Okay. Because every time I keep reducing the I value by 2, it will reach my negative value. So that's why you are getting out in the output, you are getting negative value. But since it is a constant, it is always evaluated to false. It will never evaluated to true. Non-zero constant value. Non-zero constant value. Okay. This will run for infinite times. Now if I put 0 here, this loop body will not execute because first time 0 means false. First time itself is evaluated to false. The loop body is not executed. Directly we are coming to out of loop. Okay. Now if I have something like I equal to sometimes accidentally instead of putting double equals, people put single equals. So if I put like that, I is equal to 10, what will happen? This is going to run for infinite times. All the time I is equal to 10. That means even though it is 19 here, when we are doing, this is an assignment statement. I is equal to 10, 10 is assigned to variable I. That means the 19 will be overwritten by 10. Now the whole expression the value of the whole expression will be the value of the RHS. So it is as good as putting 10. I is equal to 10 is as good as putting simply 10. So every time it will be evaluated to true. A non-zero value, this will be evaluated to true, and we will end up in infinite loop. Okay. These are different scenarios. Any question about this? So far, whatever we mentioned. Otherwise, we will see a practical program, practical application. So what we will do is, okay, we will have a variable n. We will find write the program for finding the sum of first 10 numbers. So initially I take n as 10. So sum of first 10 numbers. Sum of first 10 numbers. So what I will do is, initially I will put I is equal to probably 1. Anyway, adding 0 to any number doesn't make any difference. So I will take my first number as 1. And I need to store the sum somewhere. Sum of the first n numbers, I need a variable for that. So that sum I will take it as 0. Initially sum is 0. So what this program is going to do is, it will find the sum of first n numbers. For the time being I am taking n as 10. That means this should find sum of 1 plus, the sum 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus etc. up to 10. Okay. So to store the sum, to store the result I have declared a variable. This is the upper limit up to which I have to add. 10 means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus etc. up to 10. If I give 15, the program should find some 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus etc. up to 15. And generally user will be providing this value of n variable n. So based whatever user enters, that will be assigned to this. But for simplicity I am directly creating it here and assuming that it is 10. User entered 10. So to store the result, I am using the variable sum, and to take each number starting from 1 next to 2, I am using this variable. So this will become my control variable now, and my boundary condition is less than or equal to n. Boundary condition is less than or equal to n. So initially I is equal to 1, boundary up to which I have to find the sum, it is 10. 1 less than or equal to 10 is true. Okay. So what I will do here is sum equal to sum plus I. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So initially sum is equal to 0. When I is having 1, 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, that is assigned to sum. So sum becomes my 1 becomes my new value in sum. Some variable will have the new value as 1. Now I want to pick up the next number. So what I wanted is finding 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus etc. up to 10. First I took 1, that is added. Cumulatively we are going to add it to this variable sum. So initially 0 plus 1, that is 1. Sum will have a new value. Initially it was 0, now we will have 1. Next time we have to pick up the next number. For that what I am doing is I is equal to I plus 1. Now I becomes 2. Initially I started with 1. Now I becomes 2. Next time 2 less than or equal to 10 is checked. That is true. 2 less than or equal to 10 is true. What I will do? Sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum is already 1. I is equal to 2 now. So 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. That is going to be assigned to my result. Okay. Next time I am incrementing I to 1, I by 1. That means 2 plus 1, 3. That means I am taking already 1 plus 2 is done. To that I am going to add 3 now. In the next iteration, when 3 less than or equal to 10 is true, to that sum 1 plus 2, 3 already we got. The next digit 3 I am going to add here. Okay, I get 6. Then I will be incremented to 4. Okay, I already have 1 plus 2 plus 3 in this variable. Then I is incremented to 4. 4 less than or equal to 10 is true. We are going to add 1 plus 2 plus 3. 6 is already there. 6 plus 4, 10. So sum will have the value 10. This way we are going to run until I gets value 10. 10 less than or equal to 10 is also true. For I value of 10 also we are going to execute this. So we will effectively get 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. Then I will be incremented to 11. 11 less than or equal to 10 is false. We will come out, and what we will do is sum of percentage d to percentage d is percentage d. What should I give? First value is 1, so I will give directly 1. To n, what we are targeting is adding the element numbers from 1 to n. So second value, sum of 1 to n value, now currently it is 10, is what? Where is the result stored?
Sum.
Sum. So this is going to give me, so if I compile, looks like it compiled. I'll execute this. Sum of 1 to 10 is 55. Now if I want to find sum of 1 to 15, sum of 1 to 15 is 120. Okay. Now this program, every time we cannot change the value of n upper limit. So what I want is I will ask the user to enter the value. I'll just declare it printf then store it in the variable instead of directly initializing n is equal to 10, I am going to store it in the variable as the user entered. Ampersand n. Now my program will find the sum of first n numbers for any value of n entered by the user. Okay. So 13. Sum of 1 to 13 is 91. Maybe 50. Like that we are going to get. Is it clear? So we have a practical application of looping. We are able to find the sum of first n numbers for any value of n entered by the user. Now if a user enters a negative number and all, it is different, we have to handle it separately, but here we assume that all are positive numbers. Any n value will be positive number 1 to n numbers. Now if you want to see the execution of this, since I am executing in main.c only, I can step by step execute this and see the execution. So it has come here. First statement I put the breakpoint, it has come here, and I'll, so empty window is there. Now I'll F7. I'll press. So I'll enable the watch window also, variable watching. So I can see all the local variables. I here, sum is equal to 0, n is equal to 0. Okay, it is initially, since it is no value is there, some random value is assigned to n variable. Some already we initialized to 0. If we don't do the initialize explicitly like this, it will have some random value. So random value here happen to be n only. I is equal to 1. Now scanf it is executing. Now that arrow is disappeared. What I need to do is I have to go here now. I have to enter the value of. So I'll just put 7. So a small number, sum of 1 to 7. Press enter. Okay. Now if I come back, scanf has returned. My arrow is here. Now we are going to enter into the loop. I is equal to 1, n is equal to 7. See, whatever user entered value, now it is stored in n. Okay. Now F7. Now sum got value. Okay. 0 plus, initially it was 0, 0 plus 1, 1. Sum is the, at any point of time, variable sum will have the cumulative sum until that point. Now 1 plus 0 is 0, 1, so that is assigned here. I is incremented to 2, 2 less than 10 is 7, 2 less than or equal to 7 is checking. N value will never change. We are not changing the value of n. Yeah, that is the user input. So sum is equal to sum plus I. 1 plus 2, that is 3. Okay. I is incremented to 3. 3 less than or equal to 7 is true. What we are going to do? 3 plus 3. Sum is equal to sum plus I. That is 3 plus 3. That is 6. So sum value is updated to 6. I value is updated to 4. Now again sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum is having 6. I is having 4. So 6 plus 4, 10 will be assigned to sum. This is going to repeat. I is equal to 6. Executed. I is equal to 7. Again executed. I is equal to 8. 8 less than or equal to 7 is true. N is equal to 7. So 8 less than or equal to 7 is false. We'll come out of it and we'll print the value of n as well as sum. And if you go here, find sum of 1 to 7 is 28. We get the F7. We are out of the program. Program is terminated. Okay. So this is how it works. Now this will be your again an assignment program. This will be assignment program. You can I'll give you time to. So what is it? We put some n, some name, some n. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eighth program. of your assignment. Okay, you can take a snap of this. Sum of 1 to n. The program title or what it is doing. Okay, that much so far. So we'll learn so many things today, like how to debug a program or step-by-step execute a program. You create a project in Codeblocks, then put in the default file you put the code, then you can debug it using this button. You can go back to this video if you have a doubt. Those are using Codeblocks and trying this out. It will be interesting to do. Then looping, how it works in live demo we saw. Then here how the control variable should reach a value such that this is evaluated to false. That also we saw. Then if it is a simple variable, what is the behavior? Or if it is a constant, what is the behavior? All those things we have seen. Okay. I hope looping mechanism is very clear for you. Looping mechanism, how it works and how we can execute a block of code repeatedly to achieve a significant task, solve a proper problem. Okay. So remaining problems we will see in the lab session today. The lab programs we will take up and we will try to do that. Okay. With that we will stop. Any doubt? So terminology, iteration. What is a control variable? So this is what control variable eventually reaches the value, gets the value of the control variable keeps getting updated so that finally this expression is evaluated to false. Then one round of execution of this loop board is called one iteration. So overall we will have multiple iteration. Minimum is 1, maximum is infinite iteration for a loop. Infinite iteration when this is never evaluated to false. Okay. Iteration also, you have to remember the terminology. One round of execution of the loop body. Okay, thank you. We'll meet in the lab at 2:30.